Alright guys, I know this video ain't real exciting, but I really wanted to learn canning from my mommy, and I reckon if the fellow watches this video, mommy can learn him how to can tomatoes too. Okay guys, my country cousin. So I got up this morning and I came in here to the kitchen, and what's my mom doing? She's already been to the garden, and she's already started with her tomatoes. She's already cut most of them. There's a few she's got left, and she's going to put them in this pot here. So what she does is she takes all the bad out.
This is chicken scraps.
This will be for the chickens. We'll feed this to them. And what she ended up here with is a big pot full of tomatoes. Do you put anything in it when you cook it, Mommy?
No, nothing.
She don't put a thing in it. What she's going to do after she gets done cutting them up is we'll take it over here and we'll put it on the stove, and I'll show you guys that in a minute when it's cooking. And tomatoes don't have to be pressure canned. You cook them first and then can them, and they self-seal. So we'll show you that too here in a minute. Okay, so Mom's down to the last couple of tomatoes. There's Case. Hi, Case.
Hi.
There's Mama. And then here's our pot full of tomatoes. And she's about to turn it on and start cooking it down. It'll cook, how long do you cook it, Mom?
Just the tomatoes cook down, and then you put them through the colander to get all the skins and seeds out.
Yep, so she's through the process now. These are just tomatoes off the vine that we had out the garden here. And she's cutting the bad places out, like I said, and anything that she doesn't want to keep. Skin stays on, seeds stay on, everything. We're going to cook it down like that, and then I'll show you how we get it strained out in a minute. Okay, so not only is Mom cooking canning tomatoes, she's also been, well, here's some tomatoes that she canned before, and she's been in here making homemade apple butter, and we're going to have to do a video on that too. These apples came from the orchard up here behind the house, and then here's some grape jelly that she's made, and these grapes come from the orchard up here behind the house. We'll have to give you so here's what she's got done this morning and yesterday. She's been busy, little bee, and we'll have to show you the rest of it in a minute. Mom's been cooking the tomatoes down. We're going to give you a look at that. How long have they been in here, Mommy?
15, 20 minutes maybe. I've got it on low heat though, so they don't scorch, because they will burn and scorch on the bottom if you try to have it too hot.
If you try to have it too hot, it'll scorch and burn. And she hadn't poured any water or anything in there. They make their own juice. This is pretty much what it's going to be like. And
I like to cook them just a little bit more before I put them in the colander.
And we'll show you how to do that too. Well, Mom's got everything done over here. Back up, Mom. Let them see the tomatoes. Here's the tomatoes, and we didn't put a thing in them. That's just, she's cooked them down about 30 minutes on low. They were boiling a little bit, and this is just it. Just the water, just they make their own water, and that's it. Okay, so I'm washing them by hand first, and we get down in there good, you know, and you got to make sure your jars are good and clean, because if they're not, it won't seal properly. So we wash them good in soapy water. Then we're going to put them in the boiling water here to get the lids good and sanitized. And then we also put the lids in there, these jobs, we put them in there too. And the rings, Mom's in there collecting those now. But basically it's one of those guys there. We're going to put them all in here and let them boil down and get them really good and sterilized. That's a really important part of the canning process. You got to get everything really good and clean. It has to be really sterile. Whenever we pour the tomatoes in, after we get done, I take a clean rag and I wipe off the lip before we put the lid on the jar to make sure that it seals. Because we're cooking the tomatoes and then we're going to can them, but you don't have to use a pressure cooker, and you don't have to do anything like that, like to get them to seal. So we're going to start with the oldie but the goodie. Here it is. This thing's older than I am, but it works better than anything we have. And it's basically just a turner, and it'll separate all the skin and seeds from the tomatoes so that we can make the juice, and it won't have any seeds or skins or anything in it.
I have bought a lot of new strainers, and they do not work as good as the old
Yeah,
ones.
the old one works better, so we always get it back out. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to putting the cooked tomatoes with the juice and the water right on in this colander here, and then I'm going to start cranking. And it takes a while to crank it out. I'll show you that too, but this is the best way to do it if you want seedless and skinless tomatoes. And then after you do that, I'm going to come over here where it's more comfortable. I just start cranking. You can see how it starts throwing the juice down into the pan.
A lot of people use juicers, those big, nice juicers.
Fancy juicer, but we don't have one of those. We're doing it the old-fashioned way here. And it takes a while, but yeah, we'll eventually get there. Okay, so here we go. I filled it back up again. It's full, and I'm cranking, and you can see I'm about halfway through the bowl of tomatoes. This is what I've done, so half gone. And then this is what it's making so far. I'm going to show down in here too. That's just straight tomato juice. It's good and warm. Put a little salt in it. You could drink it right now. And I'm just going to crank. Every now and then you go backwards to clear the seeds off the bottom. And it'll start making a little messy pulp that you have to get rid of. We usually just feed it to the chickens. I've been cranking for quite a while now, and we've got the pan of tomatoes is empty. This is going to be fed to the chickens because that's nothing but scraps now. It's just the skins and the seeds, like what we said. Now, this right here is nothing but straight tomato juice, but the key to canning, and Mom's over here getting it ready. Watch out, Mom. Here, we're going to come in. Everything has got to be scalding hot. Even this juice, it's got to be scalding hot. So after I've cranked it, it's warm, but it's not hot. These jars are on their way, but they're not ready. You know how I know? I can touch them. If you can touch them, they're not hot enough. You need to. They need to be scalding hot. Got the rings and got the lid. So when the juice starts heating back up, we're going to can it, and that's the best way to keep the bacteria out. Make sure everything's hot, and then this will be ready to go. So Mom says we're almost ready. What do you got, Mom?
Well, now that the juice is starting to simmer a little bit, that means it's really hot again. It's just barely starting to simmer. I don't want it to get too hot because I don't want it to scorch. So I'm going to turn it back down. We just want to keep it simmering hot so it will seal. Okay? Ooh, cans are hot. Lids are hot. Okay, next step, I'm going to get the cans out. With this. And they're so hot.
They are warm.
Okay, up.
And then she puts it here.
And, okay, next step.
She's got a little funnel here that she likes to use. She makes it easier and keeps it. What that really does is it keeps the juice off the lid of the jar. You cannot let anything get on the lid of that jar.
This has to be kept clean.
Or it will not seal. And then we just go to pouring it in, just like what you would think would happen.
If you like your juice a darker red, sometimes I let it cook on the stove a little while longer and it takes some of the water out and it condenses it more and makes it a darker red. Just depends on how much time I have or how rich I want my juice.
And then you go to about, what, a 1/4 inch to the top there?
Oh, wait a minute. I want to put a little bit of salt in there. Hang on a second. I like to put a little salt in my juice.
Just a little 1/2 teaspoon of salt's all she used.
And this is canning salt.
And then we're going to take this off there. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that's clean. I'm going to wipe it one more time. And then these jars and lids over here, they're ready. They're boiling. They're hotter than firecrackers.
Show me salt.
So I'm going to take that real quick like, and then put it on there. And where it's so hot and everything is hot and scalding, this will self-seal itself in a minute. It'll go pop.
You should have put a little more juice in that.
Whenever it goes pop, then we'll know that it's done. She
Tighten
says I should have put a little more juice in there, so I guess next time we'll fill it up a little more. I'm learning, just like you guys.
Get there. Tight as tight as you can.
Okay.
Set it over here on the
And here's the first one.
right over here. Not under the fan.
Okay. Number 1.
Chicken.
Okay, we're going to do us another one. Here we go. Get it, and it is hot. Woo! Quick. Back to the funnel. Scoot it over there.
I'll wet your paper towel off the lid.
Okay. And then I'm going to go to filling this one. I'm going to do what she says. She said she likes it a little fuller, so we're going to make it just a little fuller this time.
Did you put salt in it?
Not yet.
Stop and put some salt in it.
She wants a little salt. About like that, Mom?
Yeah.
So about like that. Just about like that. Okay. Put it in there.
You don't have to use the salt, but I like to put a little salt in it.
About like that, Mom?
Yep.
Right there.
Right there.
Okay. So
Wipe it off with your towel, please. Your wet towel.
I'm going to wipe it off with my clean little paper towel she got ready for me.
You always got to
Get it
wipe
good
off
and
that
clean.
rim. That's the key to sealing.
And then back over here into the rings and do it again. And I'm going to be real quick. Whoa!
There you go. Tight, tight. Use a towel.
This sucker's hot.
Got to use a towel.
And then I'll tighten it up and put it over here. And she likes to put it over here, out from underneath the ceiling fan. She wants it to stay hot until they pop themselves and seal themselves.
Okay, we're looking at the jars of tomato juice to see if they've sealed yet. And you can tell that this one back here has sealed because see how it's dented in? These other ones are still puffy on top, right in the middle. That means they have not sealed. So this is the only one so far. Sometimes they snap on their own, and sometimes you can just touch them, but that one's not staying down. That one's not. Nope. Nope. Done.
Okay guys, you saw Mom trying to pop the cans. Well, they all sealed. All the jars did seal. So what I got going on is I'm going to take you in here and I'm going to show you where they ended up. This is the cellar that we have here. And since this video is focusing on tomatoes, here's the tomatoes that we canned. Here and here. And we just spread them around. We kind of start with this bunch and then we move on here. She's got other things that we've canned. We might talk about those later, but green beans, apple butter, apples, stuff that we grow here on the farm. But what she does is she kind of labels them and they say juice. Some of them say chunky. And then she, you know, she puts like basil tomato on some of them. She puts garlic on them. It's hard to say. Some are a little richer than others like she said in the video. But this is where we end up. And it might look like a whole lot to you, but we will eat all this winter. It'll be gone and we'll start again next summer. We'll see you then.